I was just saying to someone that if you want people to show up to a meeting in Vickers Landing, either say master plan or give away cocktails, right? Sorry, we don't have cocktails today, but we will talk about the master plan. For those just coming in, there are a few seats up front, and there are a couple scattered along the sides, so make yourself comfortable. And we do have staff here that can pull out some more chairs if needed. So thank you for taking the time to attend this presentation. What I'm going to be showing to you is the work of the completed master plan. So as you will hear, this does not mean that what you see is set in stone. It acts as a guide as we improve the campus over the next, into likely a decade. So let me start with the definition. What is a master plan? So note here that a master plan is a blueprint. It's not a final set of documents. It is meant to guide us and to show us what we want to accomplish can indeed be done within our community. Once we get into specific phases of work, those phases will be revisited. The architect will create actual drawings for those spaces. We'll have additional input at those times, and we will then ensure that it continues to meet the goals that we set at the beginning. So this is a guideline. This isn't a set in stone plan, and it's all going to happen right away. So keep that in mind as we go through. Now, these were the goals that we started off with. We outlined some overarching goals from the very beginning. And these were discussed and came out of the initial meetings with the leadership group and at our initial charrette. And charrette is an architectural term basically for a brainstorming session. So our initial charrette came up with these goals as part of this project. That charrette included several residents. It included associate members. It included management, board members. So there was a lot of involvement there. And as you can see, these are not necessarily in a particular order, but we knew we needed to renovate and reposition our health services offerings to really create a more modern, state-of-the-art health center for you all going forward. We also wanted to enhance and reimagine some community spaces and right-size some things, such as the chapel. As you know from walking down the hall particularly during the services for the Catholic Church, the chapel is full and sometimes overflowing, so we need more space in there. We wanted to improve the driveway and entry sequence. We wanted to create some additional parking spaces, which we are doing now. The operations center is a part of that parking structure, and we'll get into that in just a moment. And then we did discuss and consider long-term addition and replacement of the independent living homes. And we do have some solution for that, but we have pushed out any thought of completely demolishing and rebuilding independent homes because we don't see that as a viable solution in the near term. So a little history on this project. So this started 3 years ago. In late 2022, we engaged our first architectural firm, and we worked with a core group of residents, which was the elected leadership group at that time, the current president at the time, the immediate past president. We had the leadership from the art committee, and we added the leadership from the decorating committee. So it was that core group of residents that was in every meeting. 2 board members. We had Steve Crosby, who has real estate experience from his work with CSX in his career there, and then Todd Hickey, who's the general manager of the Marriott next door. They were on that core leadership team, and then staff. As I mentioned, that charrette included several residents, prospective residents, board members. It was a large group of people right here in the auditorium when we did the initial brainstorming session. And then there was a period of time where we were just working on refining the plan, but we also changed architects for this process at that time. And the reason we did is we started with an architect firm called SFCS, and decided that while they were doing a great job, we decided it would make more sense to bring in RLPS, who designed Oak Bridge, so that we could make sure that there was a consistency in feel between the campuses. And so our RLPS stepped in the middle. We didn't start again from the beginning, but they picked up from where we were. And then last year about this time, I had a presentation. Some of you were probably there, and you shared some great feedback for the draft plan. And I took that feedback back to the architects, and we refined some things. And then the committee and the board approved this as our plan to help guide us going forward. As you know, construction of the parking structure and operations center began recently. What that is doing, and I'll speak more to this, is allowing us to do the future work. By freeing up space on the campus, we are that will allow us in the future to have construction laydown space, places to work around as we do the work in the future. So let's start with that parking structure. So first of all, locationally, it is back where we used to have the barn adjacent to the Vickers Woods. And we included the garage and operations center in phase 3 of the Oak Bridge financing because this project allows us, again, the space to do the rest of the master plan projects at the right time. Frees up parking spaces and creates a long-term solution for our laundry, which needed to be updated and expanded to help support Oak Bridge, and a long-term solution for maintenance, which needed more space for storage. This adds a paint shop and some support areas for them. It also adds area for generator support for our healthcare buildings, and then of course parking and charging our community vehicles and our golf carts. So here's an image that I've shown before. This hasn't changed. This is what will be. This is coming up York Road. So if you went straight back past the Stratford, then this is what you would see in front of you, which is the ramp up to the parking areas. Will include 79 spaces plus golf carts. This little area here is where the generator will ultimately be to support the health services. And then this entry is for the ground level, which is where our laundry, our maintenance supply, paint shop, and then golf cart storage, and some of the Vickers Landing vehicles will be parked in there as well. So it frees up a lot of space and gets everything right-sized and located well. So that work is ongoing. We anticipate that the garage will be done around next September and will be fully complete and in use. So we're looking forward to that because parking, as you know, has always been an issue on this campus. So now let's shift to the overall site plan just to show you some ideas of what things are looking like here. So to orient you, this is the main entrance. You'll see that there's a new entry sequence. We've talked about this before, and this was in the last presentation. The common buildings remain the same, but here is where the health center is currently. And you see we're anticipating some new independent living buildings, which will help support the financing of this project. In order to create more resident space above us on this west wing, where we'll create a new building next to the loading dock that will just be for administrative offices and human resources. And then there will be a new health services building where the Stratford is. You see it creates a nice open green, nice straight view through the lake, across the activity green and into the waterway behind. So really impactful and well organization of the campus. This loop will not be an open road. It is an emergency access, so fire rescue can get through there as needed, but that will be more of a pedestrian and golf cart access, but just allows for flow of traffic around the full campus. All right. I went the wrong direction. Sorry, I need another hand here. There we go. So I've shown this picture before. This is an image, a rendering that was done from the main entrance, looking at the reworked entryway from basically from the right side of the pool. And this is if you were standing behind the pool, looking back at the community building. Again, this is a rendering that I've shown before. Just wanted to remind you of that. And then this slide demonstrates potential phasing of the project once it is started. So as you can see, the Garage and Operations Center was labeled Phase 1A as part of the plan, but it also recognizes that it's outside of the plan as it's already being constructed. So then this anticipates that we would likely do Phase 1B, which is that first independent living building, by demolishing only the 1400 hall of the Windsor Health Center to build one of the new independent living buildings that would include 12 new apartment homes. So these homes have, phase 1B is right over it, but there's an atrium, just like our existing buildings have, so we'll have the same feel. And then the health center, our current health center, was built in such a way that it would not interfere with operations to take down one wing at a time. So that was a good find that we can do that in stages. And then the entry fees, the reason for doing the independent living early is the entry fees from these apartments would help to then offset the cost of construction for Phase 2, which would be the new health center building. And I do have a floor-by-floor plan to show you of that building in a moment. The work in the Commons building could be done throughout, and you'll see it's labeled as Phase 3, but it could be through the process. And then finally, we have the second independent living building that would be Phase 4. Once everyone has moved into the new health services building and settled, then we could demolish the rest of the existing health center building to build that. So that's an idea of the phasing at this point. All right, so let's look at the Commons building. And I know this is small. I will zoom into these areas in a moment. But this slide demonstrates the key features incorporated in the renovation of the common spaces. So you can see we relocated the main entrance. We've discussed this before in the lobby to create a clear, kind of light-filled entry sequence, very impactful. Expanded new chapel. We need more space for the chapel, and that works well. And I will remind you of a rendering I've shown before of the inside of the chapel, so you can get an idea of what that would look like. Renovated dining spaces, plus we would move the billiards room, the club room down here, adjacent to the lounge, much more accessible and in an appropriate space there. We would have enhanced wellness and cultural amenities upstairs with a full-service spa, theater, arts area, and then those second floor administration offices that are currently right here would go right behind the kitchen here, and it would be a multi-story building. These are really just a sample layout. We haven't refined anything in there at this point. And then one of the biggest pieces of feedback I got from the presentation that I did last year was, you may recall that the architects had suggested enclosing these areas of this walkway. And I got a lot of feedback that residents wanted to keep an open walkway all around. So we went back and told them they needed to rework that. So that continues to be an open air walkway all around the pond. So that's the big picture. We can get a little more granular here now. So the main changes, this is the second floor of this building. So if you went down to the elevator and went upstairs, this is the floor we're talking about. So this is right here. All right. So the main changes on the second floor include renovating the administrative offices into a new salon and spa area. We have the opportunity to include a massage suite, create more space for a full-service salon, manicure, pedicure, and so on, and include trending wellness options. And one thing it could be is, like it's labeled here, a salt room. And last year we all had a laugh about that, and I was laughing with you. But since that time, I actually had the opportunity to visit and tour a new retirement community in Tysons Corner, Virginia, Mather at Tysons. And they have a salt room in their spa. And the person leading the tour was talking about what a great amenity that is, how many people use it, and how many people love that. So perhaps it remains a salt room, but we can see what is trending in wellness in that area at that time. So the classroom really remains the same as it is. And then you see we move the group fitness room upstairs, and it's a place where it's a little quieter, so when we have things like meditation classes, something like that, it's a good space for them. And then finally, the boardroom upstairs would become the resident conference room. So that function remains the same there. Now going downstairs, so I am right here right now. So this is the auditorium, just to orient you. This shows the west side of this Commons building, which includes reworking the areas in the back of the auditorium to create a bit more space. So we have 2 storage rooms right now, including the pantry and AV. We kind of shift storage along the side over here. It gives us a little bit more room in the back to add more space for master plan meetings and meetings where we offer cocktails. So definitely need more space in here when everyone is interested in the topic. So our fitness room kind of remains in the same area, but we would be updating the equipment. There have been some updates in the equipment for retirement community fitness centers and a lot of interesting things out there using technology. So we would certainly be evaluating those when we do this renovation. And then next to that is a theater. And I've been to several retirement communities where they have theaters, and they are well used. They're not just for screening movies. It could be for lectures, discussions, what have you. And so it is a nice, quiet space that does get used quite a bit. The arts room would move across to where the card room is now. And then there's an event space here that can open up into the chapel if need be, but it creates a larger space for cards and multi-purpose use like our card room is used now. Then the library would be larger and have a bit more seating as a central focus area, and then you see the entry and marketing would move over to the entry. Now, on the east side of the building, so you can see here's the entry, so we've just come across. You see a reconfigured Blue Heron Cafe. It's in the same general location, but it'll be more open and create more space for gathering here. Across from that, you have the mail room, and then the enlarged parlor space. So the wood shop would remain where it is, and we would make any renovations needed at that time. And then, as I mentioned, the club room moves downstairs. So you can see there's a flow here. You can go from the cafe into the lounge, and then we'll put the billiards in here, so it makes it easy access and the ability to enjoy drinks and a snack as you play billiards or mahjong or poker down there in the game room. Then the lounge would be reconfigured in the space to be more open, create a little more seating. And the idea of the open field continues into the dining room, where there are fewer separations, and the separations that are included, for instance, this white area here, this white area here, would be more of a wine wall, like you see in a nice restaurant. A small glass room where they store the wine, but it creates a separation, but also some visual interest. Finally, the Ponte Vedra and Estes rooms would be reoriented in this plan to make them more usable and accessible. So the Ponte Vedra room, right now there's a double door that can be opened, but even if you're using that for overflow dining, it's still a separate room. And this way, we can put a partition up, but if we took it down, then it does feel like part of the dining room. And then we reoriented the Estes room, so it remains a private dining room, but it could be used as an exhibition cooking space for cooking activities, that sort of thing, being right off the kitchen. So it creates a good location for that as well. And I've mentioned the renderings I've shown before, so this was an interior rendering of the enlarged parlor space. And this was an interior rendering of the new chapel space. And I do want to point out that we do preserve the stained glass. It's been there from the beginning, designed by our founder's daughter. And then the stained glass that Reverend Tony Marini created in honor of his wife, that is currently, if you went in the chapel and looked back and up, you see it up there. It's a little more prominent here, so we'll be able to see that. And then some nice light creates a nice light and welcoming expanded chapel space. So next is the Health Services Building. To orient you once again, so here's the site plan. It's located where the Stratford is now. You see here's the pond out in the back. Right now our croquet court and bocce court are right here, so that just gives you an idea of where you are. And as you see each floor, the north end, the top end of the floor plans will be this side, and then the south will be on the bottoms, just to orient you here. Now, I am sorry that these are smaller, but I'll highlight each space we go through so you can get a good feel for it and understanding of it, and I can certainly come back to these if need be. So this side is the first floor of the anticipated new health center building. Here's the porte cochere and entry. So security would be here, the security office reception, and that leads into an elevator lobby here and a new cafe. And this is for all residents. What we're anticipating is this could be just like if you would say that the Blue Heron is similar to a Panera, then maybe this is similar to a Starbucks or a Foxtail, kind of coffee, some Danish and muffins, some coffee and tea, that sort of thing. It could be more than that, and when the time comes, we'll certainly have input from residents to really decide what that space should be as an additional food venue. Then this is a secure door, because this is our memory center anticipated for this campus. It has 16 apartments. The darker blue, this gunmetal blue, is each of the apartments. And the purple is back of house. So this is the production kitchen and pantry and service areas. And then the orange here is common space, so dining and living and activity spaces overlooking the lake, which is right out here. Then this green space is a nice enclosed, safe garden for the memory care residents to be able to get outside and enjoy some outside areas safely. And then if we go up the elevator to the second floor, we get to our rehab floor. So these are skilled nursing beds, 16 private rooms on this floor. This red area is a new and much larger therapy gym. So our occupational speech and physical therapy would be in this area. Again, the orange is common spaces, dining activity spaces, and then this is the prep kitchen. So the food would come up from the production kitchen through these elevators and into the prep kitchen for this floor. Now, these next two floors, this is floors 3 and 4, they're both assisted living, and they are nearly identical. So again, the bluish spaces are the member apartments. The purple is back of house, production at the prep kitchen. Orange is common spaces. But the difference is, you'll see in the common space here, there's a big white area. And what that says is open to below. So it creates a connection for all the folks that are living in the assisted living area. And so the main dining area would be up here, but there's a lounge, living room, activity space up here. So just like in the Stratford, the people upstairs would go downstairs to dine and for larger activities. But it does create a connection between these 2 spaces to create more community. So that's the 3rd and 4th floor. And then the top floor would be our long-term nursing. So skilled nursing, once again, 16 private rooms here in the pinkish color. Again, this is the kitchen area that serves the dining area, and then activities and living. So, all the orientation for common spaces looks over the lake that's right out here. So that's why it's oriented that way. And then this blue area would be the administrative offices for our health center. So Hannah, Chris, that team would be right up here on the 5th floor of our new health center. So in all, the building will have 72 apartments in addition to the 61 being built at Oak Bridge right now, for a total of 133 healthcare homes. We currently have 98 total available. So a big increase to take into account our larger population. Something to consider, as people are living longer, they are living healthier. So our bodies are healthier. Our minds aren't always healthier, and that's why you see so much memory care these days. But our bodies are staying healthy. And so the utilization of nursing home beds across the country has dropped drastically, while costs have skyrocketed due to regulations and that sort of thing. So what you're seeing nationwide then is a reduction of nursing beds in favor of assisted living and memory care. And that's what you're seeing demonstrated here as well. So in all, we will have 34 total healthcare. We'll have 34 memory care apartments, 67 assisted living apartments, and 32 nursing beds. So that is the plan on that at this point. So some final thoughts in all this. First thing that we're going to do is finish phase 3 at Oak Bridge. That has our attention right now, and we will make sure that that's done, and we'll make sure that the garage is done. So there's no set timeline for when phase 1B will start here. When the work does begin, there will be further participation in final design and layout, so there'll be opportunity for input and feedback. And remember, this is a planning document. Nothing is final here yet. And I know one of the big questions is how will they get paid for? I alluded to the fact that we will start with an independent living building. Those entrance fees help create the capacity to do the further work. As we finish up some of the work we're doing, we'll be freeing up some debt capacity just through our debt payments. And so ultimately, there will be a new bond issue at some point that will take into account some of this work. It will likely not include a refinancing of our existing debt, because our existing debt for Oak Bridge was at a record low interest rate. So we certainly don't want to mess that up. So it would be an additional bond issue once that time comes. But we don't have that time set at this point. So with that, I'm opening up to questions. There will be a microphone running around, so please wait until Toy gets to you with the microphone so everyone can hear you. And if you need me to go back to a slide, I'm happy to do so. So, Toy has the microphone. Who has a question? Oh, and Megan has one too. We got one up here.
I live in Inverness, and I see that all the traffic, people coming to go to the dining room from 5 buildings, a lot of people with mobility issues coming through the side entrance. And looking at that plan, it looks like you have to go all the way around the Heron to get to the dining room instead of a shortcut to the dining room. Is that correct?
You know what? That's correct. That's something for us to look at. I appreciate you bringing that up. Let me get to that slide and make a note, please. So hang on just a moment. Okay, thank you for that. Other questions? Question back here. Toys coming right behind you. There we go.
Is there a way to see this online when we get home?
This has been videotaped, so it'll be on our YouTube channel.
Yeah, I'll send a link.
So Megan will send the link out, and there will be hard copies of something similar to this, not this exact presentation, but where all this information is. It will be in the library, and we'll put one over at Oak Ridge as well. Just one in the back.
I think you mentioned that several of the buildings would be 4 stories. You mentioned that several of the buildings would be 4 stories.
No, the new health center building would be 5 stories.
Okay. How many elevators?
So we have 2 up front and 2 in the back, so 4 elevators.
Okay, that's a great idea.
Okay. I can't imagine where you got that thought. Toys coming to you right now.
I see that a space has been addressed for the wood shop, but there's nothing there for the boutique, the cottage.
It remains. The wood shop was just put in there because that's where it currently is. Get back to, see that where it says, where can I put it? Where it says member area here, that's the boutique, so that will remain where it is. So it's, you go around the wood shop and get to the boutique. So we would never take that away. Other questions? There's one behind you, Megan.
Just for curiosity, when you're speaking about the upstairs, will there be a hot tub?
A hot tub. I hear a cheer. No, there would not be a hot tub upstairs. I can see leaks and issues from that. And a hot tub is not currently contemplated. When the time comes for the construction, we can certainly ask the opinion of residents at that time and consider it at that time.
Another question, when you're talking about the garage, will and more golf carts, does that mean we can get golf carts?
No, I'm speaking to the existing maintenance and security golf carts. They'll just be able to be out of the way.
Okay.
So. There's a question here. Tor?
Maybe I missed it, but can you tell me where the members' room is and also the members' fund room is? I know that you said the members' conference room is on the second
Right.
floor.
Let me get to a close. There we go. So there would be, this is the members' office, the business center. This is the members' fund office. And then this is the foundation office. So here in this corner.
All right. And
Thank you.
then-
I didn't point that out.
Yeah. And then when you're building the assisted care, the new 2 floors,
Yes, ma'am.
I think you said, I can't remember how many units per floor, 12? But
6, was it 12? Sorry. There are lots of numbers in my head. I don't have my glasses on. 12 per floor, so
So
yes.
that's 24.
Here.
And the thing I'm concerned about, if you compare assisted care with other competing assisted care, there are usually, 80 to 100 units in a facility. And it's not big enough, I don't think, for a community. Spafford is a community. And I'm just worried about that. And also the facilities that they can easily assess versus having to come across campus for, a chapel or whatever they're doing. Because those facilities are in Stratford right now. They have a big porch, living rooms.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I was concerned about that.
Mhm. So,
And also enough people for them to choose their friends.
sure, sure. We are not looking to take anything away. There will be outdoor spaces on the lakeside. There will be certainly plenty of living and activity space. You mentioned, excuse me, you mentioned seeing assisted livings of 80 to 100 units, and those are for freestanding communities that serve a broad area. So our health services are to serve you all. And it's not just the 24 here. Remember, we have 43 that will be at Oak Ridge. So we are, as one community, you know, we are weighted toward assisted
Right
living.
now, right, but I don't think that if you're in assisted care here and in assisted care at Oak Ridge, there's going to be a lot of mingling between those two groups. They're not mobile enough, I do not believe. So I just want you to consider that.
Right.
And then my other question was the new administration building that you're building.
Yes.
How many square feet is that?
I don't, it's on here. So offhand, I don't know that. And as I mentioned, we haven't finalized any layout on that. We just created a space for offices.
So you have so many square feet now that you use for administration, do you know that number?
Not offhand, no.
So when you told the architect to build your building, how do they know what size to build that building?
They have the square footages.
They do
I
that.
don't have them in my head. They have all the information.
Can you release that to us?
Perhaps, I don't know that I have a plan that has all the square footages of all the areas. You know, I can assure you that there will be enough space in that building for the administration offices. Was there some other reason that you're asking this?
Well, because we're building it and there's a cost to it. So I'm wondering how many square feet you have now and how many square feet you need for the new building.
It will at least equate to what we have now, certainly. But a boardroom will be in there, so we'll be adding that space.
Will square feet be available for this master plan so we can look at the square footage of these different rooms and whatnot?
Well, the square footage in the common buildings will remain the same. We're just reworking the spaces. So there's no change there. The square footage comes in the new health services building, which actually is in that plan. So if you go and once we get it in the library, you can go look in there, and I believe the square footages are on that plan.
So there will be square footage available for us to look at?
For that health services building, yes.
Well, for not for the administration building.
That's not a finalized area. Again, it will have enough space. They know how much space we need, and so we will certainly have enough space. But it's a staff area. We'll have a staff break room in there as well, so we're moving some spaces in there. So we will have enough square footage for our staff.
All right, but you will get it because you'll need it to go out for bids eventually.
Of course, when that time comes. But as I mentioned, we don't have a timeline for that at this point. Okay, and then Toy, there's one in the back along the wall. Yes. Father Cooper.
With the new parking, how many visitor parking slots will be added to our service? If I invite two sets of friends from off campus, they can't figure out how to park here to come see us
So,
before 5 o'clock.
right. So theoretically, you will have 79 empty parking spaces out here. So staff who are currently parking in those unreserved spots will be in the garage. So your guests can park in any of the unreserved spots that will be available. Theoretically, there should be 79 available at any given time. Another one up front? Yes, ma'am.
Could you just remind me again, how tall will the new residence building be? How many floors?
The new independent living,
Yes.
3 floors, just like the tallest here.
If you finish the garage in September, fall of next year,
Yes, sir.
what is the overall timeline for getting this done?
Again, we don't have one set
But
at this point.
is it 5 years or 15 years?
hope and anticipate it would be more on the 5-year end. It depends on debt capacity, it depends on interest rates, it depends on materials costs, those sorts of things. So we will take a deeper dive into that as we near the end of the construction of the garage and get a better idea. I'm happy to share that then, but at this point, we just haven't done that because we're focused on finishing the projects we have going on.
And when you get into the main building, how are you going to provide meals and takeout service?
I don't understand the question.
Is the dining room going to be renovated?
The space will be renovated in likely in pieces, so it will remain operational, and for all the carry out and deliveries will remain the same. So the kitchen will remain the same. There are no renovations to the kitchen at all. So. Is there one over here? Up front?
This will sound
She's right behind you.
quite frivolous.
It is. Go ahead.
Okay. I recently visited a retirement home where, and it was actually in South Carolina, Charleston. And their winters admittedly are cooler than ours are. However, there was a one fireplace where everyone gathered on cold afternoons and evenings, and it obviously was a very popular place. I wondered if anything like a fireplace was considered during these drawings.
That's a level of detail we haven't gotten to yet, but that's certainly something that we can do. We used to have a fireplace in the lounge. That's a much broader story. But we can certainly do that in a seating area. I think it's a lovely idea. Was it Bishop Gadsden? Was the community Bishop Gadsden?
No.
Oh, okay. I visited Bishop Gadsden. I haven't visited any others up there. South Bank? Okay. Yes. Hang on just a moment, for us.
The new parking garage is in the back corner of the property.
Yes, sir.
And in theory, 79 staff will go all the way back there and park.
Yes, sir.
How do you ensure that happens, that indeed all these parking spaces become available?
Well, frankly, it'll be convenient for the staff because the largest departments are all back there, health services and dining. And we'll frankly make it a requirement that they park back that way. Of course. Was there? Go ahead, you have the microphone.
I understand that 5 new homes are going to be built in the Sawgrass campus. I wondered when will they be built and where will they be built?
Other than what I showed you as our anticipated independent living buildings, we don't have any plans for any additional homes at this point. Of course.
Bruce, this is, excuse me, this is a low-budget item that has bothered me ever since I've been in this gathering spot.
Yes, sir.
You need to be lit while you're talking to your audience.
Yes, we've had that conversation. We've had challenges with the lights, but you were absolutely right. So. Okay. Who has the microphone over here? Oh, okay. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Bruce, have you considered golfing cart parking spaces here as a way to relieve some of the parking issues? I think if there were some here, people at Oak Ridge who have carts would drive through the new access road as opposed to bringing a car.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a fairly large campus. I can imagine that some people. Bruce, are you still with us?
I can't see, but yes.
The campus here is fairly large,
Yes.
and some people have mobility issues. It makes sense to me that if they had a golf cart, they might come from their their apartment building to the dining room or to the auditorium. But if you could, I think having some spaces dedicated to golf carts would be a big relief on traffic and on parking.
And you're absolutely right. The conversation has come up over the years for resident golf carts here. We don't have a good way for them to be charged because the parking is away from the buildings. And that was one of the advantages of the Oak Ridge construction, is we were able to create a charging space right where people would use them. As the garage is done and we create more space on the campus, that's perhaps something that we can open up again, not necessarily for charging, but to have parking spots where people can come. Then you do walk a balance between, frequently the reason to drive a golf cart is you can get closer to the building, but then that takes away the parking that's closer to the building, so the people that are driving are further away. So there's a balance there that we would need to consider, but I will certainly make note of it as a consideration as we get further along in this. Yes, sir.
Continuing on the subject of parking, the 79 new spaces, how many new independent living units? How many new independent units will there be? Because those will need to have parking also.
Yes. So the 79 new parking spaces alleviates the challenge here. When those new buildings are built, we have incorporated additional parking around them to take that into account. So there will be additional parking as those buildings are built. Thank you for bringing that up. I didn't mention that. Yes.
Just a suggestion for you, Bruce, but you talked about the architects wanting to enclose the area around the pond, and certainly we don't want that. We do like to sit out there and eat.
Yes.
What I would like to suggest is perhaps instead of awnings on the tables, how about considering retractable awnings that would come off of the overhanging roof?
That is,
so that we can
yes.
have seating where the lounge is, where the cafe is, and even in the dining room.
Mm-hmm. First of all, yes, you can see there's outdoor seating and the cafe seating all along here. This patio that is currently out here remains for outdoor, and we do anticipate adding outdoor seating once again outside the dining room, but we do need to solve that western sun issue. Retractable awnings are an option. That's certainly something that we would look at. They become a maintenance issue, not only from the mechanical parts, but they get moldy very quickly. So we would want to balance the mechanical needs with the best solution to shade those areas. But we would certainly take shading into account.
For instance, outside the Blue Heron, the cafe, you're limited if you want to put tables together because of the way the awnings are. So if you have 10, 12 people that all want to be together, it's impossible. That's why I'm suggesting that, so we have more flexibility.
Okay, I appreciate that. We will certainly take that into account. And for larger groups, now that we're serving food out at the pool deck, you could have a nice picnic lunch out by the pool. One at the back. Oh, you have a microphone? Yes.
Yes. How will you accommodate the existing residents in the health center and in Stratford while you tear down and rebuild?
So that is going to be a great logistical balancing act. And one of the reasons we will finish phase 3 first is because that adds healthcare capacity. So we're adding 43 assisted living and 18 memory care over at Oak Ridge. And you did hear that in the first phase, where that first independent living building would be built, we're only taking down one wing, which is 15 beds. And so we would be able to accommodate that. That would then allow us to build the new health services building where people could move into before we have to demolish the rest of the health center. So the people in the Stratford would have to be accommodated either in the health center if they become appropriate for that level, or over the assisted living at Oak Ridge. The microphone's back here.
I can speak loudly.
What? Hang on. She has the microphone. No, hang on just a moment, please.
Are construction workers considered employees that will have to park in the employees' parking lot?
Right now, we have more construction workers than we would normally would. But yes, anyone who is a vendor or contractor would park back that way as well, either in the parking garage or along that area. Yes. Okay, and then Toy will bring the microphone up to you.
Towing the ones that park in someone's place.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. When do you anticipate the completion of the Oak Ridge project? Where will the food for the new assisted living and the memory unit at Oak Ridge be prepared? Will that come out of the Oak Ridge kitchen?
Okay, so that's not part of the master plan, but
Because you can't start this master plan until you complete that.
Sure. So the memory care continues to be on schedule. As we've shared, that building will be opening toward the end of February. And then the assisted living building will be opening toward the end of May. There is a production kitchen in the assisted living building that will serve both of those buildings. So food production over there, including staff lunches, because the staff break room will be on the second floor of the memory care building. We'll all be out of that kitchen. Toy's coming right now.
When is Stratford going to be put into a different area? When do you expect that to happen?
Again, I don't have a timeline for that. That would be the second phase of this project. And so it would be, if I had to guess, at least 5 years from now. It would be sometime down the road. But we don't have a timeline yet. Yes, ma'am.
As one of the newest residents over in Marlow, we have had reservations in the dining room at 5:15 and not gotten our meals till 7:30. And this happens a lot. I'm sure it's been pointed out that cooking area is really not big enough to feed all of us,
Sure. Again,
Is anything?
this presentation was for the master plan on Thursday. We do have some questions related to that, but I will say what I will say at the quarterly meeting on Thursday, that it's not the space. The space has been used as an excuse, but there are kitchens in New York City that are half the size of what we have there. What it really is comes down to the management. You've seen some turnover, the chef management over there. We're very happy to have Chef Ron over there now. Ron has a great rapport with the team and with the staff, and he knows that that's a charge of his to make sure that the timing of the food comes out. Not only is it excellent, but it also comes on time. And so we are working to provide some very soon changes over there based on that new management style. Other questions about the master plan? Okay. Oh, look, Ms. Zimmerman, waiting at the last moment.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
What will the address be for your offices, the administration offices with this new plan? What will the address be?
I don't know that at this point. It would be.
Will be a different address, correct?
Well, you could always put 1000 Vickers Landing Way Administration. But I'm sure the physical address will be 1000 something York Road.
York Road.
It would be on York Road.
So all your stationery and everything else?
We would keep 1000 Vickers Landing Way and just have people do the administration. Thank you, Ms. Zimmerman. So I remain available if you have questions. Most of the team is actually here, so if you have questions about specific areas, please ask